January the 8th. Hello, Monday. I'm here to pick up my reward. Despite all the nerves and anxiety it costs me to sit here and talk with the idea of publishing it afterwards, it offers me the benefit that I can pour out all the thoughts running through my head, anyway, weirdly connecting at places, and delight when I see the one or the other is listening. Thank you for that. And maybe learning something. Knowledge is my love language. Generally, we do something, might go to great lengths to accomplish it, when the benefits outweigh the cost. And that brings me to, what else? Alcohol. Be with me here as I will talk about history, our brains, and its dependence on us not just feeling all the feels, but thinking all the thoughts. And just right ahead, no, this won't be a reckless endorsement of violent drinking. The toll alcohol can take on us humans is great. That's a fact since the very beginning. And yet, the taste of alcohol has stayed in our gene pool. And the right to drink had stayed in our cultural repertoire. Not just that humans everywhere went to great lengths to produce alcohol even when food was scarce and the production of alcohol required a portion of the available grain. There is even evidence that the desire to brew beer, to get drunk with our friends, came before the decision to settle down and farm the land. The evidence is so strong, you could even say that our desire to brew beer made us domesticate the first crops. So, we are talking here about the second revolution that shaped the course of the human history. The agricultural revolution. To recap, humans appeared about 2.5 million years ago. The cognitive revolution, when our brains changed and Homo sapiens gained language, happened 70,000 years ago, and it is estimated that around 10 to 12,000 years ago, we humans gave up our hunter-gatherer lifestyle and started farming. It's quite the change after more than 2.4 million years, and no matter how you spin it, it wasn't exactly progress. Humans traded a very varied diet they found while roaming for hours and hours of back-breaking labor to grow one staple. And that staple then was prone to fail due to weather conditions or pests, creating famines. Living in close quarters, often with animals, introduced deadly diseases hunter-gatherers didn't know, and where hunter-gatherer societies were more or less egalitarian, the agricultural revolution introduced social stratification that saw most of the human beings at the bottom of the totem pole. Why? Then why? May I invite you to one of the earliest cake parties we have evidence for? It took place in modern-day Turkey about 11,000 years ago at Göbekli Tepe. It's quite the location even today. Our ancestors rammed 62 T-shaped limestone pillars into the ground, each one weighing about 15 tons. They'd been carried miles and miles away and transported to just this one spot. Many have carvings in them. At least 500 people must have been involved in the construction. 500 hunter-gatherers who were known to be working together in great groups. And that what? Then they partied, as evidenced by the shards of broken cups and stone basins that could hold nearly 40 gallons of liquid each. These basins were used to brew beer. You need a lot of grain to fill these basins. So the theory goes, some people settled down to grow the grain, and the rest is history. But what is it about alcohol that might have made it so attractive to us? Let's see. About 60,000 years earlier, the cognitive revolution happened. And you always have to see these states as a culmination of a development and not as a switch. In the 60,000 years that followed, humans had language, so they had thought. Many thoughts. Thinking shaped their brains further, rewiring it. I can only assume that over this time, what we may know today as the prefrontal cortex developed, much in the way as the prefrontal cortex develops nowadays as we grow up. A 4-year-old, for example, has almost no prefrontal cortex, meaning this 4-year-old will have problems to stay focused, remain on task, accept delayed gratification, tie their laces, and show up on time in preschool. To have executive functions and cognitive control is great, but it prevents us from lateral thinking, from solving problems that require connecting seemingly unrelated things, from creativity. We also have more inhibitions and have problems detecting lies, while at the same time we are great liars. We are also prone to judging ourselves and others too harshly. Alcohol is a tool to temporarily downregulate our cognitive control for a while. Or put in other words, it is a tool to introduce neurodiversity in ourselves as our brains become more effective. What allows me to attribute the third major revolution of human history also to thinking and reflecting. It's what worked throughout history to adjust to the ever-changing environment, thinking and reflecting. Ballmer Peak, by the way, the point of highest creative output and productivity is at 0.08 blood alcohol or 2 light drinks. And there's a time for it, just as there is a time for putting our nose down and really trying to solve that problem. The time for sober thinking is actually more often, but that's too bleak for Mondays.